top of St Agnes Beacon. Welcome to the GCN show.
Welcome to the GCN show.
This week is riding in the rain for serious cyclists, stupid cyclists, or just soggy cyclists. We try and get to the bottom of whether to cycle in wet weather.
Dan's adventure got off to a start with it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Team dynamics in the world of pro cycling.
Plus, we have news of a brand new type of carbon, and it's shiny. Yes, like metal, but carbon. What's not to like?
Shiny carbon.
This week in the world of cycling, we learned that it's no wonder professional cyclists sometimes go the wrong way in races, when frankly, this is what happens when they're left to their own devices.
Ooh, this is Thomas again and Tim Wellens on their second annual bikepacking trip, and they were looking for a shortcut when this happened.
Yes, this is Tim Wellens going over the handlebars in a snowdrift. I've got to say, Chris, I absolutely love that clip. I love the whole thing that they're doing, but to think that those are two of the best road cyclists in the entire world, just out in the middle of Spain. And we'll have more from them a little bit later on in the show. We also learned this week just how to make indoor training exciting 10 years ago. Wow, that is impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, it is impressive. It's just how dead straight he was on those rollers.
It's the juggling that does it for me, if I'm completely honest. I mean, how many balls was that? I don't even know.
Yeah, that was quite cool. If you've got anything weird or unusual you'd like to share with us, use the GCN app and send it up to us, or use the uploader, which is in the description below.
If it's cycling related, that would be a bonus, I think.
Yeah,
not just
help.
weird stuff. We don't want to open that particular Pandora's box. Now, I would like to take this opportunity, if that's okay, to make something of a confession.
You know the camera's on.
Yeah, no, it's for public consumption.
Right.
Okay, so this autumn is shaping up to be the wettest on record here in the UK. Fellow Brit cyclists, you will feel my pain, no doubt. And anyone who is not British, you, I'm sure, can imagine in your worst nightmares what the wettest autumn on record in the UK would be like. But anyway, perhaps that's no excuse, but this morning, I cracked.
You what? You cracked?
I cracked, yeah. Literally, I was going to ride to work, okay, as I normally do. It was mild temperatures, the roads only slightly damp, but okay. And then it started to rain as I was having breakfast, and I just thought, no, I can't do it. I cannot ride to work today. And not only that, I couldn't even ride my town bike to the station. I had to walk instead.
Si, are you okay? This doesn't sound like you.
Well, I think I am. I mean, in part, it might be a reaction to having spent half of Saturday cleaning up after my muddy cyclocross ride, and then half of Sunday cleaning up after my kids' muddy bike ride as well. But ultimately, I just didn't want to get wet again.
Well, you know what, Si, I can kind of sympathise with that. And we're about to hear from Dan to see if he can sympathise as well. Oh, Dan.
Ouch.
No, I don't feel for you at all. So, Si, the question is, are you going soft? Are you no longer a serious cyclist because you refuse to ride in the rain?
Riding the rain again, I think that's the important distinction here.
Ah, right, okay. All right then, let's phrase it another way. What would you have gained had you ridden in the rain this morning?
£9.10, because that's how much my train fare cost me. £9.10.
All right, so commuting in the wet financially seems to be beneficial. Yeah. And these days, while bikes are more robust than people give them credit for, you can't deny riding in the wet and all that grit is going to accelerate the wear and tear on your beloved steed.
Not £9.10 worth of damage in 40 kilometres, but I do take your point, and actually, I did chuckle at a tweet I saw this weekend from Elena Jaskowska that said, new bottom bracket, new rear tyre, chain, grips. Tell me again how outside is free. And I thought, well, yeah, that is quite a good point, actually.
Yeah, that's a good point. And on that note, your kit is going to be absolutely stinking by the time you've ridden it in.
Yes.
And you're going to want it refreshed by the time you go back.
True.
Or the next time you wear it. So I got really excited with this one. I had a little Google, find out the average cost of a washing machine cycle. Massive anticlimax. Turns out that's only 18 to 20 pence roughly.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that's a great fact, isn't it? And I'll start washing my t-shirts a bit more now. People will probably be quite happy about that.
Please do.
Oh, for peace sake. Do we have to use that clip again?
Yes, GCN Classic site, it has to stay.
It's been 5 years. It's been used so much, it's going crackly around the edges.
What, the t-shirt or the clip?
Oh, no, seriously, back to this morning, I would have done some exercise, wouldn't I? I might have got fitter for my ride to work.
Yeah, in theory, yeah. Imagine you've got a 4-hour ride planned, a couple of 20-minute zone 4 efforts in there. You know, the sort of effort that's really going to make you feel good.
Tasty, yes, I like it.
But outside, it's chucking it down with rain. And it's windy, and it's freezing cold as well.
Less
of course,
tasty.
you could just postpone that ride until the next day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably not going to have that much of an effect.
No.
But imagine you go out and you do that ride. You complete the entire ride. You come home and you feel like you've achieved something. You feel that much more worthy. Yeah. And mentally, you cannot underestimate the effect that has.
Yeah. So what we're saying then is that you could indeed postpone your ride and not have any negative training effects from that. But going out and doing the ride regardless could well make you stronger and also tougher.
Yeah.
Although, actually, we've got to put in a little warning here, haven't we? That for people in the UK, postponing a ride to wait for better weather may well have negative consequences at the moment, because you might not have ridden for 2 months.
Yeah, that just doesn't work here anymore, does it? But what you can do nowadays is use the indoor trainer, because that is nothing like it used to be 10 years ago, is it?
No, that's right. Back when we used to have to juggle for entertainment on the rollers. Remember that?
So, do all serious cyclists now spend their time training indoors?
Well, some of them do. Edvald Boasson-Hagen does 6-hour training rides over the winter.
That's brutal.
I know, not for me. But I think they probably mix it up, if I'm being completely honest. Anyway, speaking of mental toughness, not all of us are out there trying to get fit or train for something. We ride bikes because we enjoy it. And so here's the point then, where sometimes we need a little reminder, don't we, that actually riding in the rain can be fun. Once you get past that bit where your bum crack starts to get a little bit damp and your legs get wet, yeah, after that, it's fine. And seriously, it does make you feel good when you get home, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's true. You know what? In this last 18 months, I found myself becoming somewhat of a fair weather cyclist myself.
Really?
To the point that the rain started to scare me, the thought of going out in it. And I started to question, would I ever want to ride in the rain again? But I've had to set myself some pretty serious targets over the next 12 months, which require me to be quite a bit fitter than I was this year. And that means I need to be more committed and dedicated to my training and try and squeeze in proper, genuine endurance sessions, no matter what the weather. And that means going outside in the rain again.
And have you enjoyed it?
You know what, Si? This last couple of weeks, weirdly, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there we go then. So, cycling in the rain then is definitely not for the stupid. Had I ridden to work this morning, I would have felt a little bit mentally stronger, had a spring in my step, plus I'd have been about £8 something better off. So definitely not for the stupid. Is it just for the serious then? Actually, scrap that. We can't call them serious. Serious cyclists makes me think of people with no sense of humour that shout at everyone on the bike path. There must be a better word.
Well, you do have to show some sort of level of commitment to get out there and actually ride in the rain, don't you?
Yes, that's true.
But ultimately, I think we all have our threshold, our limit where enough is enough. And if you ride in the rain more than, well, I don't know, a few times a week or regularly, at some point, it's just going to start to get you down, isn't it?
It will, yes. But a little bit of rain, we're saying, is a good thing. It can be enjoyable and it's good for your head.
So, it's not for the serious.
No.
It's not for the stupid.
No.
Is it just for the soggy?
Well, speaking of soggy, it's been a tough first couple of days for Lloydie, hasn't it? Dan's adventure has got off to a damp start. This is where Dan had to ride 1 kilometre for every like he got on a frankly ill thought out post on the GCN app that received a lot of likes, and he's got to do all of them in the lead up to Christmas.
Day 1 of Dan's adventure, 1,000 kilometres over the next month until Christmas Day. People have turned up. Give us a wave. We've got absolutely terrible conditions for it, so 105 k's in the rain by the looks of it. 57 k's done, average speed almost 20 miles an hour. I didn't ride much on the front though. Phil and Zach, who've been coming out with me for the last 2 days, have been absolutely killing me to the point where I can only just hang on. So I was going to carry on for a bit longer today and do a few extra k's to get towards the 1,000, but I'm very cold and I'm very wet again. So I'm going to leave you now, but before I go, just a reminder that I am trying to raise money for World Bicycle Relief. It's a fantastic charity, which many of you know I shaved my hair off for just a couple of years ago. I think I'm up to about £350 as I record this, so any donations will be very much welcome. See you soon.
If you would like to make a donation to World Bicycle Relief, there is a link in the description below to Dan's Just Giving page, where you'll also be able to create your own fundraising page if you too are taking part in the 1,000 kilometre challenge.
Yeah, great challenge, isn't it? And fair play to Lloydie. You can see why he ended up riding for the Cervelo test team with commitment like that, can't you? So yeah, I think everyone should get behind Lloydie.
I think so too.
Weekly inspiration now. It's that part of the show where you send in your amazing cycling photos and we have the tough task of picking out the top 3 each week, all of whom will win a belter of a prize from this week, our contrast collection, which we're modelling at the moment. That's right. Who's in third, Chris?
In third place, we have a bored man down in the Bays in Wellington, New Zealand. It's hard to believe it's still, well, not still summer, it's just entered summer down there. Whilst his son was at the mountain biking club, he went out for a ride, and look at that. I can't even remember summer, Si.
Is a fantastic shot. That does look absolutely amazing. No, I mean, we don't know whether that was a grass ride or whether there was actually tarmac nearby, but...
There's a tarmac in the picture, isn't it? Or is that something else?
No, I think that's just grass, mate. Yeah, so, you know, maybe like fill us in, that could be a new genre, a grass bike.
Specialised bike theme joke there.
Yeah, anyway, what does he win?
He wins a pair of the black contrast socks. Da-dang.
Those will look very cool.
Also good that way.
With your shorts this summer. So yeah, enjoy those. In second place then, we've got this one sent in by James. He said he had a last minute decision to do a tour of Lac Le Mans with his mate Paul. 180 Ks around, partly in Switzerland, partly in France. That is inspiring me, Chris, because it looks kind of wintry. But also it's one of those things where you're like, oh, that was so worth getting out the door. A little bit of mist, a little bit of sun, pretty epic. Fantastic.
A little bit of rust on the rails matching the roofs.
Ooh, arty. Yeah. Now, James, you win for second place. A GCN Contrast Edition thermal water bottle there for keeping hot things hot and cold things cold. And also a hat as modelled by Chris.
Not this hat, it's mine.
Right then, top prize this week, our most inspirational photo. Chris, who is it?
This is going to Cedric, who went down to his garage this morning, or whenever he took the picture, fully expecting to be jumping onto the turbo trainer, but held off for a moment because he felt like the sun was going to come out, and the sun came out. This is Mont du Lyonnais in Lyon, France, on a 67-kilometre ride. Look at that.
That is an absolute perler of a shot, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is inspiration in image form.
It's almost artwork.
Yeah, it is. And maybe it's just because I've had so many good rides on that kind of French road, but that is striking a chord with me right now. Fantastic. Anyway, congratulations, Cedric. Not only do you get the accolade of our most inspiring photo of the week, you also, of course, get our top prize this week, which is a GCN Contrast t-shirt and also sweatshirt as well. So there we go.
Nice.
Yeah, please keep all your inspirational photos coming in via the uploader or indeed on the GCN app as well. Just be careful though, if you say anything like, I'll do a certain amount of kilometres for every like I get, you might have to do more than you think. So we'll just remind
We'll make sure of that, won't we?
We will, yeah.
It's now time for cycling shorts.
Cycling shorts now, and we're going to start with an update from Jonas Deichmann, who, when we caught up with him last week, was just 600 kilometres shy of completing the Cape to Cape. So that's 18,000 kilometres from the northernmost point of Norway to the southernmost point of South Africa.
He arrived on November the 19th at 6:53 p.m, meaning it had taken him just 72 days and 7 hours, and in doing so, sliced a whopping 30 days off the previous record, which is bonkers.
Absolutely, isn't it? That's 250 Ks a day, every single day, unsupported. So like sleeping in hedges and foraging for food. Well, I mean, you could have bought food, but...
You know who else was going unsupported, Si? Two of the biggest engines in the world of pro cycling, Tim Wellens and Thomas De Gendt, in the final breakaway 2.
That's right, you might remember their exploits from last year, where the pair cycled home from their final race of the season, so all the way from Lombardia in Italy to Belgium, and they obviously got a bit of a taste for it and enjoyed it, because this year they are back for more.
Yeah, more than they bargained for as well, as the start has been delayed, not just because of baggage handlers, heavy-handed baggage handlers, illness, but also because of snow. Yes, snow in Spain.
That's right, yeah. And the reason, if you're wondering why they didn't ride home from their last race of the year, is because actually Thomas's season finished in China, and they might have missed the Spring Classics.
Yeah, it's a long ride.
They'd have been somewhere in, I don't know, Azerbaijan or something. What would be really interesting would be to see what would happen if one of those two guys actually took on an ultra endurance challenge. Would a pro cyclist be able to smash it, or is it a totally different kind of ballgame?
We could have suggested it to Lawrence Tendone, but after the show last week, he told us he's definitely going to be drinking beer at the gravel races next year. Now, changing the subject a minute, we received a Facebook message from Martijn Bakker with a link to Science Mag.
That's right. As if he thought we hadn't already read it, Chris.
Had you?
No, not that one, but we normally keep abreast of science.
Anyway, this is particularly exciting, I think, because it's about a new type of carbon, and when you consider that it too, just like graphene and diamond, contains some remarkable physical properties.
That's right. So this one, okay, can be as tough as stainless steel. It is about as conductive as stainless steel, but it is about as reflective as a polished aluminium mirror.
Whoa.
Yeah, how cool is that? Imagine a bike made out of that.
Sounds expensive, Si.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would look like an aluminium bike, clearly, because, you know, be shiny and polished, but...
Bling bling.
Well, and it would ride like a steel bike, potentially, but just be as expensive as a carbon one. So, anyway, we'll have to wait and see how that one pans out, but still, an interesting development, I thought.
Yeah, now changing tack again, there is news in the world of pro cycling coming from Arkea Samsic that they will be running a women's pro team alongside the men's team in 2020.
That's right. Now, on the face of it, that looks like a positive step, but perhaps not quite as positive as it might first appear, given that the team they're starting out with modest ambitions in 2020, that's fine. None of the riders are going to be paid full salaries, which again, you know, that's okay and that they're hoping to develop it, but it just made me feel a little bit uncomfortable given that it's being announced at the same time that Nairo Quintana's there for the first team get together. And I don't know, I mean, I suppose there are many men's Pro Tour teams that don't have women's teams, but then equally, should they be paid full salaries, maybe? I don't know. I don't know what to think.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. And you mentioned Nairo, but it's not his fault.
No.
He made a good impression in his own right. And considering it could be seen as somewhat of a, I don't know, a step down from Movistar, it certainly raised a few eyebrows, didn't it?
It did, yeah. No, you're right. I read an interview with him on Cycling News, and he did come across very well, very modestly, and like it was a sensible, rational decision. So fingers crossed it definitely works out for him. Now, speaking of team dynamics though, Greg LeMond waded very much into the team dynamics of the kind of quite top-heavy Team Ineos roster with some advice for Egan Bernal.
Yeah, he's advised him, instead of riding for Froome, that he should focus purely on riding for himself. This is in an interview on Velo News this week.
That's right, spoken like a true former teammate of Bernardino there. Greg LeMond clearly bearing the scars of 1985 and 1986, and probably after that as well.
Yeah, quite a lot after that, actually.
Yeah.
It's one of the most obscure times of the week now, Si. It's time for Hack/Bodge.
It's not obscure, can I just say? This is like one of my favourite parts of the week, mate. It's not obscure.
Have you not seen some of these designs?
All right, okay, there's some weird stuff out there.
Make sure you keep on sending us all your stuff using either the GCN app or the uploader. Right, first off, we have an update on last week's photo, which was, by you and Dan, I believe, called a bodge.
Well, it was, yeah. So this was like what we thought was someone had basically cut a hole in a wide-brimmed hat and stuck their helmet through. Now, it would appear from this that actually it's a proper thing. So Alcan Brad says, sure, they look nerdy and you might get lifted off the bike at high speed, but on those brutally hot days slogging up hills on a tandem, these things aren't bodges, they're ready for a 1000k ride.
Blimey.
And fair play, yeah, I take that, I take your point. I maybe hadn't quite seen the true versatility of the brimmed cycling helmet. And by the way as well, that jersey is amazing. I've just heard that Dan Lloyd has ordered one as well. So yeah, hopefully that's it. Also, another update, actually, put a bit of a shout out to ask for your zip tie hacks, how to get rid of those razor sharp edges. You did not disappoint, and in amongst some of the responses, we had MPH GPS 7, Hackle Bodge, once cut, I use a soldering iron to melt the sharp edge flush, nice. Jerry Gundecker, don't cut zip ties, twist them with pliers and it won't be sharp. Well, there we go. And then lastly, Chris Price, if your zip ties are sharp, try this. To cut them off flush, pull the part to be cut off to the side and run a sharp blade right next to the knob. It'll quickly slice it off, flush and smooth.
Wow. I always thought the trick was just to rotate that, you know, the little clip.
The razor bit.
Get it out of the way.
I think there must be an alternative to the zip tie, full stop. Maybe that's a billionaire waiting to happen if you can replace the zip tie with something that's neater.
One day. Right, first up then, George Christie. Look at this.
Now that is a good transportation device. For an adult or a child, do you think? And if it's a child, would you rest them on a plank like that on your top tube?
With a swimming float.
It looks like Jaws has had a bit of a go at that. Or do you think they've cut it off?
Well, you know what I really like about this bike? is the centre stand. It's like a 2-pronged centre stand.
Oh wow, yeah.
Stability.
Nice. And that, I don't think is a hack or a bodge. That's probably something you can buy.
Yeah.
Are we going to say bodge for this terrifying contraption?
I feel like it's going to be really hard to pedal that.
Yeah. I think anything where 2x4 is kind of like sort of attached to a bike frame is probably a bodge in my book.
I get bodge, yeah.
Unlike the
Sounds
3D
good.
printing that Dan and I always give a hack for because we don't understand it. Right, next up we got this one, which has blown my little mind. This is from Mateusz Sabanski. He said, here's a trick that can make a rear derailleur work with a shifter that's indexed for 1 less gear. So I've got a 10-speed Z paired with a 9-speed SRAM XO, and it shifts perfectly. Now, this is a wormhole I myself have gone down recently, Chris, trying to get, because it's not just about different gears, it's about different ratios of cable pull, all sorts of stuff. Anyway, look at that. He's basically like bodged a V-brake thing underneath it, to space out the cable. I have no idea if this works. I don't even know why it would work. But like I said, my mind is blown and I'm tempted to say hack, even though I haven't seen it for myself.
Yeah, see, I feel like you've clearly sat there with a calculator, made some graphs, some charts, worked out the exact pull angles and all the rest of it.
That's very generous of you, Chris. I think he's winged it. Maybe give us a bit more info, but tentatively, we'll give you a hack for that one.
If it's working. Right, next up, P Gas Prague, or P Gas Prague. Not sure. This is the ultimate triple fan turbo cooler.
Whoa.
Look at that, for a little bit of forced induction to your own body.
Wow. How does that thing not even like blast itself backwards? There's a lot of power in that thing.
Looks like you take off, doesn't it? They are 3 proper heavy duty fans as well, aren't they?
It does feel, doesn't it? Like that's probably quite a lot of power to you know, provide your indoor training session there. There must be some way of harnessing some of that to give back to the, you know, the planet. I know we don't produce much. I mean, even a man of your own talents produce much in the way of like power output.
Only in
over
very,
an
very
hour.
short bursts.
Well, that's it. But you know, anyway, I quite like that as we've already seen, sweaty dude. Yes, that does look like it might be up my street.
The only thing it's missing is a window.
What for?
Ventilation.
Oh, I see.
Otherwise, you're just on a bubble of hot air. Just
Yeah.
blowing hot air around the room.
Good point, actually. Well, you know, moving air is better than no moving air.
True.
Anyway, there we go. We're giving it a hack.
I think hack, yep.
Yes, I think hack. Right, next up, we got this one from 6X from Toronto. This elegant hack was perfected by Peter Merck, a member of Toronto Warriors in cold Canadian weather. It's those Canadians going on about winter again, mate.
Yeah, they love a bit of
Seriously,
winter.
give it a rest, guys. We know it's cold. Anyway, lithium battery life can be drastically reduced. This reusable blanket made of packing foam has significantly improved the life of my torch. Well, that does look pretty neat, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks neat, it looks tidy, it looks like it's not going to fall off in a hurry.
Is it flammable though, that material? Because some of these bike lights can get really hot.
do
I'm
get
sure
hot.
even in Canada, where it's like minus 424, like, anyway, I'm sure it hasn't caught fire yet, because you probably have told us.
Not
in fact,
yet.
you probably wouldn't even have sent it in, because your light was on fire.
It could potentially be a hack, but I do wonder if you could have somehow created some sort of shield. So we ride in the rain, in the dark, in the cold.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's probably not waterproof, that
maybe
material, is
not.
it? So yeah, hopefully it's fire retardant, and then perhaps version 2 could be waterproof, and then you can export it globally.
Hey, it's well protected if it falls off.
It is, yeah. I like it. I very much like that. Sleeping
Hack.
bags for lights. Yes, it's
Hack.
a hack.
Nice.
Brilliant. And that concludes this week's hack/bodge. Please do keep them coming in. As I said at the beginning of this, it's one of the highlights of my week. So yeah, don't disappoint. Keep them coming.
Caption competition now, and the winner goes home. Well, they don't go home because they never turned up, but they get an elite GCN water bottle.
Yeah, if that wasn't clear, we send them in the post.
You don't have to come and get them.
Yeah, to whoever has the best caption to a photo. We're going to start with the results from last week. This was a crash that's all too familiar of those of us that ride in the dirt. Hey, Chris. This is Jenti Bakkart crashing at the World Cup, I believe, in Tabor. Anyway, the winner is Mick Wilson, who said, I think I've just put my back out.
Yeah, that's good, that.
Yeah.
I couldn't have beaten that myself.
No, brilliant, isn't it? And what's even better is we've gone seamlessly from jokes about Ellie Isabit to now a joke about Jenti Bakkart as well. So there we go. Yeah.
This week's competition is a picture of Kenny Decatur riding or warming up on the rollers at the Ghent 6-day. I think you should have a go at this.
Well, I know there's always a sense of expectation when Lloydie's not here, because it's not like his are good, but he at least takes the heat off.
Gets him in there, doesn't it?
Yeah. So anyway, a large crowd had gathered to see whether Kenny de Ketela had actually perfected his juggling whilst riding on the rollers. Exactly.
Ooh, I quite like that. Topical. Going back to the start of the show.
Well, yes. I mean, that's what I've gone for. But maybe the
you know
the
that only
delivery wasn't great.
one person in the entire crowd is actually watching him.
Well, I mean, track centre at Ghent 6 Day, isn't it famous for just drinking?
Don't know. What would Dan know about that?
I don't know. Let's see what happened when Dan went to watch the Ghent 6 Day.
We've all been drinking a lot. I've had at least 8 mineral waters myself. I'm not sure what the others have been drinking.
Yes, that seems to confirm, doesn't it? There we go. Anyway, of course, you can all better that dismal effort. So yeah, get involved and you may win a GCN Elite water bottle. And well, yeah, hopefully Dan will be back next week if he's not got
We need his help, don't we?
chronic fatigue. Yeah. Now, before we get on to what is coming up on the channel over the next 7 days, it is our weekly look back at some of the amazing comments that you've been leaving under the previous 7 days of videos, starting under actually last week's GCN show, which Hugh Quebecois came up with this. The real question, rather than will roadies ruin gravel, is whether biking will ruin gravel. Deep, huh?
Well, it depends, I think, how deep the ruts are when you're riding.
Yeah, and I think considering that most gravel's probably got like motorised transport on, we're probably right. But anyway, he's a deep thinker, Hugh, because actually I noticed under our video from Saturday, he actually commented on how I was wearing my bike helmet incorrectly.
Oh, I've never really noticed that myself.
No, well, I'm gonna look at it now. So thank you very much for pointing that one out, Hugh.
That's good to be reminded of these things.
Indeed it is, indeed it is.
Another comment from underneath Gravel versus XC. Over the years of watching GCN, I finally figured that the best part is the pub scene.
Yeah, which is an interesting point, because maybe actually we could forget about the riding stuff and just film videos in the pub.
Yeah, if you'd like to see us just filming from the pub in the future, please drop a comment down in the box below. Tag Dan in them if you can as well.
That's right, yeah. Also under that video, can I just say, Azza Maxwell said, can we just take a moment, so I think we will, to appreciate the level of skill that Chris has, that's you mate, track standing, talking, and top class presenting all at once while making it look effortless. And yeah, fair play, mate. What's also amazing is that those previous 38 takes don't look like they've taken their toll on you at all.
No, it's remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah, really good effort there, mate. Right, and then finally, underneath the Cyclocross pit video that Jeremy, you and John shot, Drone's Nest said at first glance, I thought they were hoodlums. John looks particularly intimidating. And he does, yeah, that's John in real life, looking very threatening. As you do too, actually, with your hoodie and your
very scary
trucker's hat. Yeah, indeed.
Jeremy told us to bring our mean faces. He wanted a mean team in the pits.
Did he?
He did. Jeremy, if you've never met him, has so much energy. So, you know,
yes,
we did our best.
Rather than looking threatening, you were actually just exhausted, basically. Right, there we go. On the channel this week.
Coming up this week, riding side by side is on Wednesday. Is it safe and is it legal? And then on Thursday, 7 winter clothing hacks.
Yeah, Friday is, as always, Dirty Friday here, so some kind of off-road drop bar goodness. Then on Saturday, it's actually the last of our plant-based recipe videos, where Nige shows Lloydie this time how to make a plant-based dinner, including, can you believe this is one I missed, pistachio gelato. Which is, it does sound really good, doesn't it? It's a plant-based pistachio gelato. And then on Sunday, it's the first actually of a big new series, which we're super excited about. It's the Hour of Power. Oh yes, all will be revealed on Sunday.
I'm looking forward to that one particularly.
Yeah, me too. Monday is the Racing News Show over on GCN Racing, of course. And then next week's GCN show is the 360th. I know, we're thinking, because I reckon the 365th might coincide, I haven't done the maths here, around about January the something or other, the beginning of the year. So maybe there's like a GCN challenge next year where you have to watch a GCN episode of the GCN show every day for a year.
Oh, blimey.
Can you imagine how awful that would be? Yeah, don't do that.
If you haven't already done so and you do want to, make sure you check out our contrast range on shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com.
That's right. Yeah, you know what? It is available for a discounted rate initially, but you got to get in quick before December the 4th, I think, before
early Christmas
back
present
up to normal. Yeah. Right, please do make sure you give this video a big like as well. And if you would like to watch another video, then why not check out Chris's wicked little nutrition tips video that we released earlier last week, in fact. That was an absolute belter.